All right, I'm going to go and call the February Board of Adjustment meeting to order. This time here, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting in December. Nope, December.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the December meeting. All those in favor acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried. Item number 2, a request to approve for non-conforming structure encroaching the 20 feet front yard setback allowed for expansion located at 421 South Denver. Sarah, you got a staff report on that?
Yes, sir. Good evening. So this is an application to allow an addition to a home where the existing front of the structure is within the front yard setback. The structure is not being added to within that setback area. It is actually being added to meeting the area requirements for that zoning district. And in Article 7.2.3, it states that such structure, upon the approval of the Board of Adjustment, may be added to if said addition meets the area requirements of the land use zoning district in which the structure is located. So my recommendation is that the Board of Adjustment approve this variance request and allow the applicant to move forward with their construction project.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right. Sarah Keithley, are you here? Do you have anything to say in regards to this request? Or, all right. All right, commissioners, what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the
Okay.
project.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the request for the setback. All those in favor acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried. All right. Item number 3, request to approve a variance for Article 4.1.2, application of standard allow backing into the street and parking within right-of-way for property located at 400 East C Street, submitted by Patricia Brown. Sarah, you got a report on that one?
Yes, so this is an existing daycare facility, and it's surrounded by all C4 properties. It was a daycare facility, and then it changed ownership. And so this application, when it was brought to my attention, the parking is within the right-of-way area. As you could see by the site plan that was provided to you as part of this application. Variances may be granted by the to an applicant by the Board of Adjustment when the literal enforcement of the provisions of the zoning code would result in unnecessary hardship. Additionally, the Board of Adjustment cannot grant a variance request that confers on the applicant any special privilege that is denied to other land structures or buildings. The use of the parking lot has been in place for many years, and I believe that strict applications of the rules outlined in the zoning code would result in a deprivation of rights and would actually cause the closure of this facility. Here, the right-of-way is actually 80 feet on both East C Street and North Detroit adjacent to the property, and with the concurrent vacation of right-of-way request going through Planning Commission to City Council, they are trying to reduce the amount of area within the right-of-way. The applicant stated that they are trying to clean up a non-conforming use of land. And so when reviewing this, you see in Article 7.1 that they shall not enlarge or increase nor extend the use. And in actuality, they are trying to reduce the amount of area that they're using within the right-of-way. This is to allow parking to back directly into the right-of-way. So it is my recommendation that the Board of Adjustment approve their request to allow backing into the right-of-way. However, it's also my recommendation that a memorandum of understanding be forwarded to City Council that allows them to have parking spaces in the right-of-way.
Okay. All right. Patricia, or Jay, you got anything to say, add to that at all? Is that pretty much covered? Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question.
Can you step up to the microphone and state your name for the record, please?
I have a question because I live directly across the street. My house that I own is directly across the street, so I didn't see any of this ahead of time. I just saw a sign posted that there was going to be a hearing today. So I'm wondering, is anything going to be constructed that's different from what the property looks like right now?
No.
Looks exactly the same? Okay by me?
All right. So what was your name, ma'am? Aaron West. Okay. All right. Is anybody else? This is a public meeting, so if you have any questions or any comments, please step up to the mic and tell us all about it. All right. Commissioners, what's your pleasure? Anybody have any questions for Sarah regarding this request?
Is that the memorandum to the city, is that a standard thing that we normally do?
Anytime there is use of the right-of-way, parking in the right-of-way, historically, here in Russellville, we have allowed people to enter into a memorandum of understanding that allows them use of that right-of-way for parking.
Okay. That's true, I make a motion, we approve the.
Okay. We have a motion. Do I hear a second? Come on, guys. All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the request. All those in favor acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. All right, item number 4. We have a request to approve a variance from 20-foot front yard setback requirement to allow remodeling and expand an existing house located at 308 East J Street, submitted by David Brown. Sarah, take it away.
So this is a remodel expansion, and they are going to add a front side wrap around porch where a home exists within the 20-foot setback. This is a little bit different than the one that we just did a couple items ago, in that they're actually adding on to the home. They're adding the front porch to wrap around the house, so that will continue to be within the front yard setback. Variances may be granted when the literal enforcement and provisions could result in an unnecessary hardship. The reason that we're here today is because this applicant was trying to do a small remodel to the home in conformance with the zoning code when some construction actually ended up, the material started separating from the ceiling, if I am correct, and he had to go in and do a lot more remodeling to the structure than is permitted under the zoning code. He is trying to clean up the property and make it a nicer home. In reviewing the application, I do believe that strict adherence to the code would require removal of part of the front of the home and would be unnecessary hardship to the homeowner. I do believe that the portion of the addition that as proposed,
Easy for you to say.
I know, as proposed would actually move the front of the structure 1 foot closer to the front property line. So I would recommend that we limit that to be what is consistent with what is currently there now. Therefore, not extending it the 6 feet, just extending it the 5 feet, which is in line with the current front porch. It would be my recommendation that the Board of Adjustment approve this variance request and allow the applicant to move forward with their application to complete the remodel addition, just with the exception that they remain 7 feet from that front property line and not move 1 foot closer.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Is David Brown here? You got anything you'd like to add to that? Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions, comments about this? Commissioners?
He's got that gravel drive, what, on this plat? Is that gonna stay gravel drive, or?
All right. Commissioners, what's your pleasure here, guys?
Motion to approve the request.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the variance request. All those in favor acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. All right, item number 5. We have a request to waive sidewalks in the Airways Commercial Park for the new CenterPoint Energy located at Airways Drive, submitted by Dave Garza and Associates, Dave Garza of Barrett and Associates, I'm sorry, and that's on behalf of CenterPoint Energy. Sarah?
So this is a variance to the sidewalk provision. Currently, our Article 3.21 states that new commercial uses / structures are required to build sidewalks, 5-foot sidewalks along the entire perimeter of the entire frontage of the structure. That would require sidewalks along 3 sides of this. In addition, this is in an area that we are proposing to remove that requirement. In our Planning Commission meeting tonight, we're talking about updating Article 3.21, which would actually remove the sidewalk requirement from this property and several others in this industrial area. It is not in a residential neighborhood. It's not in a commercial area where you would typically see pedestrian traffic. I'm sure Dave Garza would get up and say that it's actually unsafe to walk in this area, as that is what he has expressed to me. I've driven out towards that area. It's not an area where you do see people walking, and in light of the zone text amendment that we're proposing that would remove sidewalk requirements in this area of town, I believe, and it would be staff recommendation that we go ahead and approve this variance request.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Dave, you want to defend yourself, or you got anything to add to that?
Just one thing.
All right.
Something that Sarah and I have been working on, we talked about before, different areas in the industrial part, and it's kind of lacking in the code, how you handle industrial areas or industrial uses. And this is one of those areas, even though it's a commercial zone, it's kind of an industrial use when you look at it, all the facets out there. The project was started back in 2014 before the sidewalk code came into effect, but it got stopped for whatever reason. Could have been financial, don't know, but then it got resurrected last year, and the plans didn't reflect the sidewalk on the resurrection part, and so they had to go for a change order, and when the change order came in, it was pretty substantial. So they requested if they could get the variance, and if you go out there, it's industrial, but it's not any place that you'd want to go walk by any means at all. And I think we have better places for sidewalks that we need to put them at that would be safer. And I don't think from a standpoint of looking at the cost, how much room it's going to take, and that we're changing grass, green space to concrete is really a viable situation for this at all. I think we need to maintain that green space and not use those resources in an area that's not going to be used. And so I agree with Sarah. I mean, the change she made is a good change.
Okay. All right, thank you, David. All right. Is there any other comment or any questions regarding this request? All right, commissioners?
My motion to approve it.
Okay. We have a motion to approve this request to waive the sidewalks. Do I have a second? Or is there any more questions?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this request. All those in favor acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried. And if there is no other business, then the Board of Adjustment meeting is adjourned.